The people who came to Skagway were itching for news of the Klondike.
Many publication companies of the late 1800s sent journalists up north to report on the Klondike Gold Rush. Upon arriving in Skagway and seeing the reality of it all, the majority of those reporters didn't make it any further than a small encampment only 3 miles outside of town.
A lot of journalism going on back then wasn't really accurate and not necessarily as accountable as journalism is today.
There's a great story about this little town that got its name called Liarsville.
It's where all the journalists hung out, right?
Liarsville is a fitting name for the town, seeing as most of the news reports were in fact lies.
It was either the reporters making up stuff or the stampeders coming down and telling lies about it. So they just called it Liarsville because nobody could believe anything that was written about conditions up on the trail.
A lot of them made it out to be a lot easier than it actually was, and they made it seem like it was just, this really quick journey. You go up the hill and, it's a wagon road and you can just go for a ride and it's really easy.
Well, all you had to do was take a nice luxurious cruise up the Alaska Inside Passage, enjoying 12 buffets a day and nightly entertainment. Yeah. Arrive in Skagway, then take the smooth wagon road known as the White Pass Trail to the summit.
But this wagon road only went 4 miles up, right? And then just kind of petered out.
What a lie.
Who's to say if more or less people would have embarked on the journey to the Klondike had reliable news stories been sent down to the lower 48 and the rest of the world? But one thing is certain. Those that did attempt the trip would have been far better prepared.
The world was pretty much in an economic depression at the time. So, the myth that you'd walk down the street in the Klondike and pick up gold nuggets would be a big lure to someone who's trying to scratch out a living.
Had the stampeders found themselves on a mountain peak with great visibility, they might have known what was awaiting them on the river. It wasn't more than 50 miles from the launching off point at Bennett that the waters began moving swiftly.
You had men, of course, that were just itching to get to the Klondike. See, they would put together whatever raft they had, and of course, these were not expected. There's no quality proofing.
The stampeders' smooth sailing quickly turned disastrous as the roaring rapids blindsided them.
They would jump on these rickety things of doom and just head to the rapids and smashing on the rocks. Men were lost.
Within days of the ice thaw, more than 100 boats were ripped to pieces, while the unrelenting white water consumed the lives of several passengers.
A lot of people were dying in the Whitehorse Rapids. There had been a couple hundred deaths and people losing their loads and things like that.
For the ones that survived, their gear was long gone.
Because it was so quick and so rough, they'd end up upsetting and losing all their gear. And so here they were in the middle of nowhere. Even though it is summertime, it's not that long, and they had no supplies.
Sam Steele of the Northwest Mounted Police heard of the dangerous rapids and immediately took action.
Sam Steele was an authoritarian type individual and would take no nonsense.
There was huge fear of loss of life.
He numbered the boats to ensure that they got through the river system safely, and they knew who was coming in and how many.
Sam Steele made it a law that every person passing through the Whitehorse Rapids had to have an experienced guide.
The rafts and the boats and the canoes and the steamers were piloted through the rapids.
It got so bad that women and children were not allowed on the boats.
They were offloaded at Canyon City and they had to walk the couple of miles, and no one was lost.
Canyon City was a settlement that kind of grew up as stampeders' boats would come in just above the rapids. Folks like, hey man, you better watch out, rapids down below.
Among the experienced pilots guiding boats through the Whitehorse Rapids was well-known author Mr. Jack London.
When Jack London came, it was at the very beginning of the rush. Just like the tens of thousands of people that came here, he was poor, he was hungry, he was unable to find work. So he tried writing before he came up here. But as he came to the Klondike, in his mind, it was to become a rich gold miner.
This served as an inspiration for many of his famous stories centered around the Klondike Gold Rush.
Well, they had endless challenges.
One enterprising fellow actually made himself a little tramway to bring the boats around, and you paid for the privilege.
And the man was quite clever. He took trees and cut them down, took all the branches off of it, and he had wheels that were the same shape as the tree itself, and he just made a cart and used horses to tow it into town.
The simple yet effective design of the tram system was responsible for saving many lives. The White Horse and Miles Canyon Rapids were nothing to be trifled with, and the tram system allowed people the opportunity to bypass this dangerous speed bump on their quest.
He would charge 3 cents a pound or $15 for an entire boatload to bring your stuff around.
It was all about very wisely spending what you had. Your bankroll was very precious. So groups of men working together, of course, would debate, should we take the risk? So you had man versus nature. It was just a very, very, very difficult environment.
Today, a small piece of the tram is all that remains in Canyon City, ensuring people never forget the lives that were lost chasing a dream.